Today I would like to invite you to listen to the Dhammapada of the Buddha Shakyamuni, the 78th verse from the Buddhist scriptures on the YouTube channel TN Thai in the USA. Associate not with evil friends, associate not with mean men, associate with good friends, associate with noble men. Dear listeners, the Buddha speaks with profound clarity in this verse, reminding us that the company we keep shapes our mind, our character, and ultimately the trajectory of our spiritual journey. In life, the choices we make about companionship are not trivial. They are deeply influential. To associate with those who act with malice, greed, or dishonesty is to invite confusion, attachment, and suffering into our own hearts. To walk with the unwise is to mirror their delusions, absorb their habits, and stumble along paths of ignorance. Conversely, to associate with the virtuous, the kind-hearted, and the wise nourishes the seeds of insight, virtue, and awakening. The wise and noble friend acts as a mirror, reflecting our own strengths and weaknesses. They inspire us to cultivate patience, compassion, generosity, and mindfulness. They encourage our practice, correct our missteps, and guide us gently toward the path of wisdom. Their presence reminds us of the potential within ourselves to act skillfully, to speak truthfully, and to live ethically. By choosing such companions, we surround ourselves with the conditions conducive to awakening. In the time of the Buddha, disciples such as Sariputta and Mahakassapa exemplified the importance of association. Sariputta, renowned for his insight, surrounded himself with monks devoted to virtue and wisdom. Together, they cultivated meditation, ethical conduct, and understanding, strengthening one another in practice. Those who were of mean character, driven by pride, attachment, or malice, were naturally avoided, for association with them led to distraction, confusion, and spiritual regression. The Buddha emphasizes that discernment in choosing companions is essential for spiritual progress. The Buddha compares association with noble friends to planting seeds in fertile soil. Seeds of virtue, compassion, and wisdom grow strong when nurtured in a supportive environment. In contrast, seeds sown among rocks and thorns wither or become entangled. Just as one would not sow a delicate plant in a field of weeds, so too must one choose the company that nourishes the mind, heart, and practice. Evil companions, like weeds, strangle virtue and insight, while noble friends cultivate clarity, understanding, and joy. Association also influences speech, behavior, and thought. When we are with those who act skillfully, speak kindly, and practice mindfulness, we are inspired to emulate these qualities. Our own habits align with the virtuous behavior we witness. In contrast, those who act unethically, speak harshly, or indulge in harmful desires encourage the growth of unwholesome tendencies. The Buddha's verse teaches that spiritual cultivation is inseparable from the influence of companions and wise. Discernment in choosing them is a profound practice of mindfulness and insight. The story of the disciple Ananda illuminates this teaching. Ananda, ever compassionate and devoted, observed the behavior of monks and laypeople alike. He noted that those who associated with the virtuous grew in patience, insight, and ethical conduct, while those who spent time with mean-spirited or malicious individuals were drawn into conflict, attachment, and delusion. By guiding others to seek noble companions, Ananda exemplified the Buddha's teaching, encouraging mindfulness in association and highlighting the profound impact of relationships on spiritual growth. The Buddha's teaching emphasizes that noble friends provide more than companionship. They serve as guides, mirrors, and sources of inspiration. They observe our actions, gently correct our mistakes, and model virtues we aspire to cultivate. Their encouragement nurtures diligence in practice, while their example inspires ethical and mindful living. The mind of the practitioner, influenced by such association, becomes tranquil, focused, and harmonious, allowing insight to arise naturally and conduct to align. Friends of virtue meditate, discuss the Dharma, and encourage skillful action. They help one another overcome obstacles, recognize attachments, and develop understanding. Such association amplifies spiritual growth, creating a shared field of virtue that benefits all. The Buddha stresses that this mutual cultivation strengthens both individual practice and the collective harmony of the Sangha, or community. In contrast, association with mean-spirited individuals fosters attachment, anger, jealousy, and pride. These companions, motivated by greed, aversion, or ignorance, distract the mind, encourage harmful habits, and obscure insight. One's own understanding may be clouded, ethical behavior compromised, and practice weakened. By consciously avoiding such company, the practitioner safeguards the mind, nurtures clarity, and preserves the conditions necessary for awakening. This discernment and association is an act of mindfulness and compassion toward oneself and others. Supportive, yet their influence slowly shapes the mind toward desire, attachment, or delusion. Noble companions, even in quiet presence, inspire mindfulness, integrity, and reflection. Transformed through association. Those who lived and practiced with noble companions cultivated insight, patience, and ethical conduct. Those who fell into the company of those who indulged in greed. Recognizing that spiritual cultivation is inseparable from the environment we create and the influence we accept. In meditation and reflection, one contemplates the company of companions, past and present, and observes how these relationships influence thought, speech, and behavior. This awareness cultivates discernment, guiding the practitioner to nurture relationships that support virtue and wisdom while releasing associations that foster delusion or harm. By actively choosing noble companions, the practitioner creates conditions for clarity of mind, depth of practice. Associates and those driven by delusion impede spiritual growth, while good friends, noble companions, and the virtuous inspire insight, compassion, and wisdom. To associate mindfully, with discernment and intention, is itself a profound practice of Dharma, safeguarding the mind, nurturing virtue, and fostering conditions for awakening. Associate not with evil friends. Associate not with mean men. Associate with good friends. Associate with noble men. Dear listeners, the Buddha's teaching in this verse reveals the subtle yet profound influence of our companions on the mind, heart, and spiritual growth. Association is not merely external. It penetrates the deepest levels of thought, shaping our perceptions, intentions, and habits. When we walk with the unwise, or those consumed by greed, anger, or delusion, we unconsciously absorb their tendencies, adopting subtle patterns of thought, speech, and behavior that impede insight and cultivate suffering. Conversely, association with virtuous, noble, and mindful companions strengthens clarity, patience, ethical conduct, and understanding, nurturing conditions for awakening. The presence of a noble companion functions as a mirror for the mind. They reflect not only our strengths, but also the areas where we are clouded by ignorance, attachment, or aversion. Their words, actions, and examples serve as reminders of ethical living, mindfulness, and the cultivation of insight. They encourage us to examine ourselves with honesty, to correct errors in conduct, and to nurture wholesome qualities. The Buddha emphasizes that the virtuous companion acts for the benefit of others, not for personal gain or recognition, creating an environment in which spiritual growth can flourish naturally. Consider the story of the disciple Mahakassapa, who exemplified the importance of noble association. Mahakassapa devoted himself to meditation, ethical conduct, and cultivated the qualities of patience, humility, and loving kindness. Those around him were inspired by his example, and their own practice was supported through mutual encouragement and guidance. The Buddha highlighted such association as essential for spiritual development, demonstrating that the company we keep directly influences the quality of our understanding and conduct. Land fail to thrive or wither entirely. In the same way, the mind exposed to virtuous, wise, and compassionate companions is nourished, while the mind influenced by evil or mean-spirited associates becomes clouded, distracted, and prone to unwholesome tendencies. Recognizing this, the practitioner cultivates discernment, choosing companions carefully to protect the mind and nurture conditions for awakening. Association influences more than conduct. It shapes speech, intention, and thought. When we are among those who speak truthfully, act compassionately, and practice mindfulness, we are inspired to emulate these qualities. Ethical conduct becomes natural, meditation deepens, and insight arises with clarity. By contrast, companions who indulge in harsh speech, deceit, or attachment cultivate similar tendencies within us. The Buddha's teaching here emphasizes proactive awareness. Spiritual cultivation is inseparable from the influence of the environment and the people with whom we associate. The story of Ananda further illuminates this principle. Ananda observed that those who practiced in the company of virtuous monks developed patience, ethical clarity, noble companions. Ananda reinforced the Buddha's teaching, highlighting the responsibility to be mindful of both one's own associations and the influence we have on others. In this way, association becomes a practice of both discernment and compassionate guidance. The Buddha teaches that noble companions serve multiple roles. They are mirrors, guides, and sources of inspiration. Their presence encourages ethical conduct, mindful speech, and diligent practice. They observe missteps with compassion, provide gentle correction, and model the qualities we aspire to cultivate. Their influence strengthens understanding, fosters ethical clarity, and cultivates a mind prepared for insight. By surrounding oneself with the virtuous, the practitioner creates conditions that support not only personal growth, but also the welfare and awakening of others. Association with the virtuous is active, not passive. It involves mutual support in practice, discussion, and ethical reflection. Noble companions encourage meditation, mindfulness, and moral action, helping each other recognize attachment, aversion, and delusion. Through this shared cultivation, insight arises, conduct becomes skillful, and compassion deepens. The Buddha emphasizes that such association nurtures the collective harmony of the Sangha or spiritual community while reinforcing individual progress on the path. In contrast, association with mean-spirited individuals fosters attachment, pride, jealousy, and aversion. These companions distract the mind, encourage unwholesome behavior, and cloud insight. Even subtle influence can be harmful, for words, habits, and attitudes gradually shape perception and action. By consciously avoiding such company, the practitioner protects the mind, strengthens ethical conduct, and cultivates conditions conducive to awakening. This discernment is an essential practice, reflecting awareness, insight, and compassion for oneself, requiring attentive observation, reflection, and conscious choice. By cultivating discernment in association, the practitioner nurtures a mind free from distraction and aligned with the path of insight and ethical clarity. Those who associated with unwholesome companions experience setbacks in understanding, ethical conduct, and meditation. The Buddha's teaching in this verse emphasizes proactive engagement in choosing companions, recognizing that the quality of spiritual cultivation is inseparable from the environment and influence we accept. Through meditation and reflection, one observes the influence of companions and evaluates which associations nurture insight, virtue, and compassion. By choosing noble friends and distancing oneself from mean or unwholesome associates, the practitioner creates conditions for clarity of mind, ethical living, and the cultivation of wisdom. Association with the virtuous strengthens meditation, inspires generosity, and fosters compassionate action. It is a profound practice of mindfulness, discernment, and spiritual responsibility. The 78th verse of the Dhammapada teaches a central principle. Discerning association is a practice of dharma, safeguarding the mind, nurturing ethical conduct, and cultivating the conditions necessary for liberation. By choosing companions wisely, we align ourselves with the path of awakening and create a field of virtue that benefits ourselves and all beings. Associate not with evil friends, associate not with mean men, associate with good friends, associate with noble men. Dear listeners, the Buddha's teaching in this verse emphasizes the profound impact of companionship on our spiritual journey. The friends we choose, the mind into distraction, suffering, and unwholesome habits. Conversely, good friends and noble companions inspire ethical conduct, mindfulness, patience, and insight, nourishing the conditions for awakening. The wise and noble companion acts as a mirror, reflecting both strengths and areas in need of growth. They offer guidance, gentle correction, and support in practice, fostering ethical clarity and wisdom. Their presence encourages meditation, virtue, and reflection, while their example nurtures generosity, compassion, and patience. The Buddha reminds us that association with the virtuous is not merely beneficial, it is essential. The company of noble friends strengthens our spiritual practice and helps cultivate insight and liberation. The stories of disciples such as Sariputta, Mahakassapa, and Ananda illustrate this teaching. They intentionally associated with virtuous companions, avoiding those driven by attachment, pride, or malice. Through these associations, they deepened their practice, strengthened mindfulness, and nurtured the qualities of patience, compassion, and wisdom. Those around them benefited as well, inspired by example and guided toward ethical and mindful living. The Buddha emphasizes that discernment in choosing companions is a cornerstone of spiritual cultivation. Association is both active and intentional. It requires mindfulness, reflection, and ethical responsibility. Noble friends provide guidance, encouragement, and a supportive environment for meditation, moral conduct, and insight. They help identify unwholesome habits, nurture virtue, and inspire ethical action. Mean-spirited companions, by contrast, subtly foster desire, attachment, and aversion, clouding perception and obstructing insight. The practitioner must therefore exercise care, awareness, and discernment in all relationships, recognizing their influence on mind, behavior, and spiritual growth. Even subtle influence can shape the mind profoundly. Those who appear friendly or persuasive may encourage unwholesome tendencies, while noble companions, even quietly present, inspire mindfulness, patience, and virtue. The Buddha teaches that awareness of these subtle influences is an essential practice of insight. By choosing companions wisely, the practitioner nurtures a mind aligned with virtue, a heart filled with compassion, and a path illuminated by clarity and understanding. Association also cultivates the mind of the practitioner. By surrounding oneself with the virtuous, one strengthens ethical conduct, develops compassion, and deepens meditation. Each interaction becomes an opportunity to practice patience, kindness, and insight. The practitioner learns to observe, reflect, and emulate skillful qualities, gradually transforming habits and cultivating wisdom. In this way, association with noble companions becomes both a source of benefit for others and a path of personal awakening. The Buddha emphasizes the long-term effects of association. Seeds of virtue planted in the presence of noble friends grow over time into insight, ethical clarity, and compassionate action. Even when challenges or temporary discomfort arise, the influence of virtuous companionship endures, gradually shaping thought, speech, and conduct. By choosing companions who inspire goodness, the practitioner safeguards the mind, cultivates virtue, and fosters the conditions for liberation. Dear listeners, let us reflect on this teaching deeply. May we cultivate awareness of the company we keep, choosing companions who inspire virtue, mindfulness, and wisdom. May we avoid those who foster attachment, greed, or malice. May our friendships and associations nurture insight, ethical clarity, and compassionate action. In doing so, we align ourselves with the path of awakening, cultivating conditions for our own liberation and for the benefit of all beings. By practicing discernment in association, embracing noble friends, and cultivating ethical and mindful interactions, we strengthen our hearts, clarify our minds, and nurture the seeds of awakening. Through such intentional association, the Dharma manifests in daily life, guiding thought, word, and deed toward virtue, insight, and freedom from suffering. May all beings be inspired to seek noble companionship, cultivate ethical conduct, and awaken to the boundless joy and peace of the Dharma. Thank you for watching my video. Namo Amitabha. I wish to bring this merit towards all disciples and sentient beings, all of whom will attain Buddhahood. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate your time.